Welcome everyone to the fourth Kingdom Counsel. Tonight we're going to talk about Kwamé Brown. Back in 2001, he was the #1 draft pick straight out of high school, and the first to do it in history to go to the NBA. After playing 12 years of professional ball in the NBA and amassing a reported worth of $65 million, sports commentators have repeatedly referred to him as the biggest bust in history. On a recent podcast, his past teammate Gilbert Arenas talked about his experience playing on the Washington Wizards with Kwamé. In response to certain comments, Kwamé aired his grievances on his YouTube channel, and his commentary has now gone viral. He has been making YouTube commentary for years. What do y'all think captured the attention of so many people recently?
In my personal opinion, I think I like the fact that he's finally opening up and saying something, because not just himself, but there's a lot of players, athletes, but I'll just use basketball in particular, who are considered busts because they don't live up to the potential of their draft position. And when they're considered a bust, that media narrative stays with them, and then it hurts their career along the way, because now that narrative that's been put out there about them is now what they are. That's the stigma about who they are. So I think it's good that he's finally speaking out, because what he's trying to do is basically regain control of his own image. And so in the process, he's just, to me, it sounds like just a boiling pot of water, where it's just finally he's had enough, and he's just now shooting at everybody that has attacked him over the years.
Yeah, and like okay, I get it. #1 draft pick, everybody expects you to be the next Michael Jordan, but like to make it into the NBA, it's like really tough. Like, what is it, like 1% of all players, like from NCAA or whatever, from high school will go into, or college actually, go into to play pro, and to last 12 years. That's a feat in itself. Like, he doesn't deserve to be called a bust for that, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the crazy part about it is the common fan or critic don't take into consideration that the amount of players that make it to the NBA that are in the league at any given time usually is less than the size of a high school graduation class. So the fact that you made it that far, that's success right there, that you're successful. Now, what draft position, you get picked up with, that's a different story. But even then, there's only 60 players that get a chance to get drafted at every year. And then the rest have to work their way up through G leagues or, just tryouts, things of that nature. But at the end of the day, you actually get drafted, and to be drafted #1, that's success in itself. So even the quote unquote worst player is still better than your average player out in the street. So everybody critiquing and, saying this, that, and the third, they didn't even make it out of high school. So how are you gonna, critique these players that aren't, that are there? So,
definitely.
But as a fan, I can say I do have my critique of it, because I played basketball, that was my sport. But to call them a bust and to say that that they suck, rather, that's kind of harsh, because again, they made it. I didn't. So, who am I to say that they're no good?
Yeah, definitely. So, but let's talk about like why he's viral now. Like I've been looking at some of his commentary on his YouTube page, and I feel like I'm listening to someone who is like giving us the truth, raw, unfiltered. And in today's cancel culture, it's hard to come by, right? Because everybody wants to be PC. So I felt like he was a breath of fresh air in a lot of ways. Now, I didn't listen to every single thing he's put out there. He has a lot of content. But what do y'all think about him busting onto the scene with his recent viral videos?
I feel like he's finally airing out things that need to be aired out. Like, I know, like, he was in the news for the whole thing with Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club, how he was airing out like his family history and things like that.
Yeah.
And, Kwamé came at him. But was he lying though?
Facts. Was he lying though? He wasn't. That's why people were sending cease and desist letters and trying to get him to stop because he was spilling too much of the truth.
I feel like it's crazy how he came out, how this all came out, because Charlemagne was trying to take up for him, which is a crazy thing. But the way he was trying to he was like trying to gas his family too. And like the thing that keeps popping in my head is like, it's this scripture that says like, even a fool seems smart with his mouth closed. And so Charlemagne has this horrible history, and yet he wants to be like the loudest person in the room. And it's crazy how like everything in the dark will come to the light, and he's not able to escape these allegations that he probably thought that he could. And then he was like taking up for him, like, y'all better leave him alone. His family's some killers. And then he started being thirsty about it, because he's like, yeah, I'm gonna call my dad and talk to him about it, because and not even realizing that Kwame wasn't gonna take it as like the way he took it. He took it wrong. Like, why are you bringing that up? And it's crazy because when you say stuff like that, like, yeah, this person's family killers and stuff like that, it's like some things you don't really want to bring up, because he took some people out.
His business to tell.
Yeah, exactly. And now the world is a spotlight on that. Now everybody's looking at the specific stories. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't know who Kwamé Brown was until I saw him going off on. So like you said, like, what brought this attention? I don't know what brought the initial attention. Everybody talking about him and saying that he's trash or whatever, like you were saying. Everybody's level of success is different. So he's obviously successful. He's been able to play for this long. He just might not be one of those players, but it's like he blew up after Charlemagne was trying to take up for him. So I guess we also too have to be careful. Like when we think we're taking up for people, sometimes maybe we just need to keep our mouth closed. State things that we think that's going to defend them.
No, though. Charlemagne, you can never trust Charlemagne. He's always into messy stuff. Always, yeah. Even though it seems like he was trying to take
line of work is being messy.
Like it's a blessing
line of work.
I want to know how he even still has a platform given the allegations. We're all about cancel this, everyone threw R. Kelly away, threw Bill Cosby away, threw all these Jeffrey Epstein away, threw everybody away. He has the same charges though, yet he still has this mass platform and this mass following of our people spewing out all this toxic and negativity on the internet. Like, that's who we need to boycott.
Well, I believe the problem is because he was found, not found innocent, but just acquitted of the charges because they said that there wasn't enough evidence against him. The problem is because of that, he feels, like he could beat anything now, and he feels like, okay, well, I got over that and I'm still a star. So now, celebrities already believe they're untouchable. And then you beat a case like that and you think you're even more untouchable now. And then Charlemagne,
now.
Yeah. And he's already a messy person. So even when he's in the process of quote unquote trying to stick up for somebody or give a compliment, you know what I mean? He has a really backhanded way of doing it to where he's still talking crap about you, but then trying to make it seem like, oh, nah, I got your back, bro. I got your back, but he wants to clown you in the process of doing it. But now all of a sudden he wants to send cease and desist letters to Kwame for doing exactly what he was doing to Kwame. Like,
exactly. He's airing it out.
You can't, you can't do that. You know what I mean? You opened your mouth and now, the cat's out the bag. Now you're upset because that's yourself, really, because you didn't say too much to the wrong person about the wrong person. And now they coming back at you. So that's on him.
With being a celebrity, you got to understand that your life isn't yours anymore. It's everybody else's. So, it's messed up that they brought up that stuff about him, but at the same time, it wasn't going to be, under wraps forever.
Well, the thing about Charlemagne's issues is they weren't under wraps at all. Everybody knew about it. It's just
not like in general, like any celebrity. That's how you make your money, is by being available to everybody. You entertain people. Your life is an entertainment for everybody.
That is true.
So,
yeah, your whole life becomes a gossip blog.
Exactly.
So, you know, we've been able to look behind the curtain for a while with like celebrities. It's, you know, with social media, it makes them so accessible. It feels like we all have a piece of them that we know. But, you know, it seems that knowing these things, people that come into Hollywood, come into fame, to stardom, still have a hard time accepting that this is reality. Why do you think there's this kind of like, I guess, cognitive dissonance between those things? Like, you know, you want to be famous, you want to be accessible, but you want to have your privacy too. But it's like you see examples that that's not the case anymore.
Absolutely. The way this stuff is now, where everything is so accessible. I mean, anybody could take a video of you and post it on the internet and it's viral. Like, if you're gonna be in the spotlight, you need to take all of it, even if it's bad, even if you don't like it. Like, your life isn't yours no more. It's your fans. You're a celebrity.
This is just the real life Truman Show. That's all it is.
I feel like it's like, okay, like me, I'm a comedian, right? So I entertain people, you know, and just because I entertain people like on a stage, it's like when I come home, that's my privacy, you know. So it is unfortunate because how life is, where like you can't have privacy now, because you back in the day, if you take a picture of a celebrity, you have it in a photo album and you'd have to show people when you see them. Not like you said, now you can just post it up and it can be viral. But I think fans are really just doing the most nowadays. They are invading people's privacy because, you know, it's not right that they follow people around. You have the paparazzi, they take a picture of you everywhere you go, you can't do anything, you know. And then now we have like this exposure culture where even if you DM, or, you know, it's like people like to use Snapchat because
you can't trust anybody.
The message is gonna go away, you know. And I feel like it seems like a lot of beef, like I'm coming to the realization that it seems like a lot of beef that goes on in the industry is a lot of times started by fans. The fans are going on somebody's page and saying, oh, you shading this person, that person not shading nobody. But then it's a bunch of little kids behind fake pages, a bunch of fake pages. They going over, they just spewing hate. They reading the comments and repeating what they see. They have no idea what's really going on, you know, and they making people's lives hard. And it does seem like the world is ran by like a fan culture now. But it's like, these are the type of fans that you keep close, like your enemy. You know, because a lot of these fans, they're not really fans. As soon as you do something that they don't like, they turning on you. Like Megan Thee Stallion, for instance, everybody's like, we tired of her now. We ready to cancel her because she, you know, she don't have no diversity. Like, hold on now. This is this girl. If this is how she's rapping, most people rap about what they know about what they do, you know? So if she rapping about fighting and bopping, you know, obviously that's part of her life. That's her. So how you gonna get mad when 2-3 albums later she can't rap about being spiritual and motivating women and uplifting because, you know, she exactly. Don't really do that. That's not how she lives. Yeah. You know,
that's
like
it's up to the fans to
life hard as heck, you know, because of it. So
like when people got mad at Cardi because she wouldn't let her daughter listen to her song, like, why would she, like, common sense, why would she let her daughter listen to that? I'm pretty sure porn stars don't let their kids watch their videos. Like,
that's why, like, this is really showing like the age that we're into, like, especially with TikTok, like people like putting videos of their kids like to these songs that's talking about wild stuff, like, but it's trendy. And so it just goes like, you got rappers talking about all types of stuff on the song and your baby is dancing in front of it. Like, you know, like,
for sure.
The message is that sending.
I would have got slapped in the mouth just for saying what to my mom. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's really up to the fans to really monitor a lot of what's even going on. If we're tired of somebody, how about you just stop listening to them? That's obviously not a part of your community or who you need to be, you know, getting your energy or vibrations from. So why isn't it up to us, instead of canceling each other and everybody else, how about we look within and start being like, I'm just not going to tolerate it. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to support it. Then they die out anyway.
Just like
we give them all their clout
in your home. Exactly.
It's super simple.
And that's kind of like
we like to place the blame on everyone.
Yeah, that's kind of like touching on what Kwamé Brown kind of talked about, like that our society has become tribal in a sense. Like, you know, you like voting somebody off the island when, why can't you just let people live and just, like you said, go about your business and let them do what they do? Why do we have to erase them from existence, you know?
Because they ain't got nothing else to do.
Absolutely.
It's a hate culture. Yeah, like you said, whoever said because they don't have anything else to do. It's like, if you guys have ever seen that movie called Social Dilemma on Netflix, and it basically talks about how Google and Facebook and all these networks, they actually have tapped into our human psyche deep down in and have made us addicted to phones. And so we can't get off the phone. So that's why everybody's like, well, I guess if I'm tired of this person, I'm gonna just spread hate, you know, because it's like you said, they don't have nothing else to do, but they're stuck on their phone because mentally
that's their life now. Like,
yeah,
people are so into their phone that, you know, that everything else will be going on around them, but they just right there in that phone.
That's what they want. And that's, they want robotic culture. They want that, like digitized. Everything is nothing personal.
There are a lot of bots.
Everything is
a lot of bots.
Everything is just on this, like everything. Literally everything. They already doing that with
programming.
Like tap doing this and that, like uploading stuff. Like you can't really move anywhere without your phone. They made that the norm.
Well, it's all about programming, and just to kind of tap into what Zatea was saying, you look at it from the standpoint of, you know, yeah, you wish people would just leave alone or leave out of whatever they're not into. Like, if that's not your thing, okay, just stay away from it. But the problem is, because of the programming, everyone has to be somewhat black or white. They have to choose a side, because at this point, there is no middle ground, because everybody is attacking those who are, you know, hey, that's what you do. That's your thing. If you don't choose a side, now you're the common enemy to the black or the white side. Like, you have to choose a side.
You're automatically against.
Like, there is no, well, respect their decision, respect their choice. There is none of that no more. And that goes back to what, you know, Deja was saying. It's like, at this point, it's tribal. They want you to be on a side so they continue to program you. They know, okay, this person likes this person likes this. You have to choose a side so we know how to program you in particular. If you don't choose a side, you're making it harder for them to be able to program you, you know? And so they don't want you. Yeah, they don't know how to push particular buttons to get to you, you know? And so that's part of it, you know, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
So bringing it back to Kwamé Brown, he also brought up an interesting point about looking at how let's talk about Black Lives Matter. How they're talking about when there's violence against Black people by the police, you know, we hear them speaking loud and clear, but when we see Black on Black violence, there's like radio silence. So what do y'all think is like the reason why both sides are not equally getting attention, and what we can do about it? Because I think he brought up a good point.
Trying to formulate something in my head.
Pretty much Black on Black. You're saying when it's a Black person that's affected by a white person, like, then it's like rah, 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 we're behind it. But when it's us against each other, it's crickets.
Yeah. And part of me wonders, are they like, you know, let's stick to this one topic so we don't get off, we don't dilute the message, but it's like, doesn't it all matter? If the point is Black Lives Matter, then don't we have to address all of it?
Yeah,
As a
it
whole.
shouldn't matter
Yeah.
who's taking. It shouldn't matter who's taking the Black life for it to matter.
Yeah.
Like,
I think um, now that you know, Deja said that, I think a big part of why we don't focus on black crime is because I think subconsciously we believe, because we're talking about Black Lives Matter, we want to keep that, even if it's not us, if it's the narrative just being promoted by the media to continue this kind of race war type of thing going on, which is kind of another topic in its own. But I think a lot of it is, if we keep the focus on that, then we could keep that Black Lives Matter thing going. But if we start focusing on black crime, it's going to dilute the whole Black Lives Matter movement, because they're going to say, how are you going to say Black Lives Matter and you're killing yourself? You don't even care about the movement you're supporting. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's also part of the reason why they're not, you know, particularly focused on black crime, even though we should, because as mentioned earlier, all crime against Black people, you know, is bad, like regardless of who it's from, you know. So I just think they don't want to dilute, I guess, the push and the momentum that's going for it. You know what I mean? But I think the media and society in itself has another agenda, and that's why they continue to keep it just Black against white, because obviously we know that there's another agenda involved with that.
I agree. And then I feel like if we start focusing on the black on black crime again, that's us looking at, okay, what do we need to do to change this? Because we already know how they act. And by they, you know who I'm speaking about. We already know how they act. We already know what they do. We don't need to be surprised anymore about what they're doing. What are we doing to stop this as a community? Where does that start?
Taking accountability. We have to take accountability.
For sure.
And that's something that none of us want to do nowadays. You know, none of us want to take accountability. We always want to point the finger at somebody else doing something to us, so we can use that excuse. That's why I can't get ahead. Mm-hmm. You know.
But it's like, it's you. It starts with you.
Like I feel like it's two different issues though at hand, and it ties into the initial issue, which is, I mean, of course, it goes back to slavery, and then how we were taught and treated and brought up to hate each other. But it's like black on black crime, when you see it, it's more normal, because you're like, oh well, this gang killed that gang, and it's just a rivalry, and it's just something that we deal with in our life.
Programming.
Then when it's the police doing it, it's like, no, hold on. You can't just use your rights to just, and then when you see that they're constantly across the board treating us differently than them, it's like, yeah, okay, Black Lives Matter is the word that they're using for the police crime, but we do need to come together and formulate a plan that we can start teaching communities and everybody. And you know, this is a first step of what we're doing right now, talking about it, and you know, making sure we share the video and getting it out to people. Like we have to figure out a way that we can come together and get each other on the same page. Like I just saw something where, you know, the B's and GD said, we calling a truce. You know, we don't want to beef no more. Like that's a first start, you know, type of thing. Like everybody needs to get on the same page. Everybody needs to come together, and we need to be educated on why we're killing each other and why we need to stop it and all these reasons. But at the same time, like the inner city is something we don't deal with on a regular basis. So when you go into the inner city and you see how those people are living, their minds are different than ours. We don't deal with the same thing that they deal with on a regular basis. Our poverty is not their poverty. Our issues are not their issues. So they're living dog eat dog. So that's why they have this kill each other, crabs in a bucket mentality, unfortunately, because when you come from the streets, it's like everybody's thinking that same way. So you got to think like that or you're going to die, you know. But at the same time, it's like, we want to draw attention to that, but hold on, don't try to bring Black people into this. We talking about why y'all keep killing us. So, I think it's two different issues.
Faith makes a great point. It's unfortunate, but it's a great point nonetheless. That I think it's an unfortunate norm for Blacks to kill each other through the music, through the, the content, and just physically, violence. And we look at, the police squads and all these things that officers are supposed to serve and protect. And so because they're supposed to serve and protect, we're like, how come you're not serving and protecting us? But the unfortunate norm of us killing each other is, okay, well, don't worry about that. We know that's happening. But the serve and protectors are not serving and protecting. And I think that's the unfortunate norm that's got us, against, the officers and white America so much. It's like, come on, man, like y'all can't do that to us. Like we could do that, but y'all can't do that, and going back to what, Zatea was saying, is we have to start taking accountability for what we're doing to ourselves. You know what I mean? But as Vanessa stated earlier, it's like, it's basically just the Willie Lynch letter in 2021, just continuing. It's just, everything just continues to evolve and change, but nothing actually stops. It's just camouflage. It's just clothed differently now, But at the end of the day, the Willie Lynch letter is still in effect. We're still killing ourselves while they sit back and watch and let everything happen. And they're just like, look at these silly people doing what they're doing. And so, going back, I can't remember who mentioned the vibrations of the music and stuff like that, but that's why they team up with these, psychologists and things like that, because they want to know what makes people tick, so they can add that to the music. They can add that to these Facebook platforms. They can add that to all these things that's going to make people jump. When they hear the ding of their Facebook or Instagram, they jump to their phone. When they hear the ding of their Gmail, they jump to the phone. When they, so all these notifications, they're touching people, and they're making, oh, let me get that. Oh, let me check that. When they hear these songs, the songs are purposely made and produced to where it's certain vibrations from that music that's giving you that angry feel, and you get hyped up and you get angry. So now when somebody else is coming at you, they might hear, you see what's going on in Chicago with all these Chicago artists, dying music. All this drill music is literally just kill music. And that's all they're doing, is they're getting everybody amped up so they can be like, who's next in my face? Ah, rah, rah, rah. And then boom. Now they're going out attacking the next person. It's no longer music anymore. The music itself is now a gang affiliation. And, it's just, all this stuff is, it's planned. It's premeditated. And they're doing this because, and they know what they're doing to get to the consumer.
Going back to the police thing, like, what got me is the fact that how is an organization that originated as slave patrol going to serve and protect you? Exactly. They used to hunt you.
It was never meant for you.
What? They weren't supposed to serve and protect you anyway. So let's just go ahead and figure out something else.
And reform hasn't worked,
Well, when they reform, it's not reforming to help us anyway. Exactly. So, it's reforming to help them.
Mm-hmm. And two, it's
no
like two, right. And two is
no, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, it seems like, okay, so like the Black on Black killings. So that was something that we've always seen. It's been like a normal, right? But it wasn't until really social media and people recording and putting these police brutalities on there, because that's, like you said, that's something normal too. They didn't just disguise it and told us they was protecting and serving, but really we're ignorant to the fact that, oh, they were actually slave hunters, and they were supposed to kill us, but now they've transformed into, the angel of light, and we're here to help you. But really, that's normal too. They've been doing this. These police brutalities, this is nothing new at all. It's been around before Black on Black crime, probably, So it's like, but now with social media, people can record it, people can upload it. Now everybody's seeing what's going on. Now we get mad as a unit, like, hold on, and then right when you see somebody killed, and then 2-3 days later, you see somebody got killed again, because you thinking like, then people rioting, you got they started looting, you know, said it was us, but they didn't did all of that, and people still getting killed. And so it's like, oh, so y'all really don't care, you know. And so that's the thing too, which is probably it's normal, but it's now that it's
normalized because we're exposed to it so much.
Yeah, now that it's televised though, and that's something that we're not trying to accept as normal. Yeah. We're like, nah.
I never used to be able to pull up my phone and see a video of a man being killed by somebody else on Twitter. I'm just scrolling on Twitter and Instagram. I'm seeing someone's death video on my timeline, and that's just normal. Like, and a million people subscribe, a million people retweeted and liked it too. Like, that should not be normal.
It's
not. I think a lot of it
desensitized to it all.
A lot of it, going back to what Faith is saying, I think a lot of it is the fact that it's not that, you know, we believe that all of a sudden they're going to protect and serve us any differently than they were before, because obviously they were slave hunters. But I believe the problem is also it's different when we didn't catch them on video. We knew that police were doing this. Like I said, that's why the Rodney King thing was such a big deal, because it was the first time it was actually caught. But we know they've been doing this. I think the problem now, at least in my opinion, is that before it was being kept under wraps and they were like, hey, let's not let nobody know about this. Now they're looking you dead in the camera and they're saying, watch me do this. That's, I think, the part that's getting out of control now, because now they don't even care if you watch us do it. You know, now it's like, before it was like, damn, somebody's looking. Okay, let's stop what we're doing. Now it's like, look me in my eyes. I'm about to kill this dude.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part where it's starting to become like, well, you really don't. Yeah, you know, that's the part that's really getting to people now. It's like, before they would at least try to do it, you know, in a back alley, you know, get you real quick and then throw you in the back of the car and be like, hey, yeah, you know, he fled, he fought us, this and that. Now it's like, nah, we know he didn't do nothing and we're going to do this anyway. And watch this. Matter of fact, get your camera. We're going to do this. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn mine off. Okay, now let's go ahead and do this. Right. You know what I mean? Like, they're just blatant with it. Like, they don't even care. And I think that's
and
why
I'm gonna get a slap in the wrist with it
too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm gonna walk off.
If they start actually persecuting the police, they will stop doing this. If people really start getting fined and losing their jobs and their lives and their homes, come on now. But it's the fact that they're allowed to do it, you know. So
yeah.
The system is going to cater to them because it's their system.
Yeah. My dad, he thinks that they really are showing it to us to incite this anger in us. You know, that's what my dad said. He's like, I think that they're trying to show it to us.
With those little, like what they did, what was his name? Derek Chauvin, the one with George Floyd, they just placate us with throwing that one in jail and be like, all right, well, it's manslaughter, should be good enough for you guys. There, move along. But they didn't do nothing to the other ones that were sitting there watching.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, y'all were a part of all of that. And it all goes hand in hand in the system that they've created. Just this whole joke of a system that it is. The government, the police, the government working with politicians working with entertainers, all pushing the same message, inciting this violence in our community. It's all coming from, it's like different webs, but it's all going to the same thing. Like, the sooner we realize that,
funneled to and from the same people.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And the sooner, like Jatea said, the sooner we can come together as a community. And if y'all want to be a part of that toxic environment and want to support all of those things, continue with that. But over here, we're building a community that's different over here. And if you rock with us, then we can come over here and we can talk and work together to build something better for those who want
we ain't too worried about hurting people's feelings. So
that's what I'm saying. People are getting hurt. Who cares about your feelings? People are dying. Your feelings are the least of my concerns.
Right.
Yep. Truth hurts, man. Truth hurts, but I mean, it needs to be heard. You know what I mean? And I think
the sensibility is back.
Yeah. And I mean, at this point, it's just, you know, like Deja was saying, I mean, you gotta come to the realization that this is how the system was set up. And where they say it all the time, like, the system isn't broken. It's working exactly the way it was created to work. You know, we've just been led to believe that it should be this way, but it's been working the way that they set it up to work. So, you know, it's like we're we're just not a part of that system. That's all it is.
Right.
You know what
I
I mean? It's
agree.
like, oh, no, it's working for them. It's working great for them.
Right.
I think the
Yeah.
biggest scam that they did was making us feel like we were free, which meant like we felt like, or we transitioned into this thing of, I feel like I'm entitled to now this system and the benefits of this system that have only been benefiting
Yeah.
white people. And so they claim, they let us go. We're free, Juneteenth, get on out of here. And we're not. You're still a slave in the system. And I feel like the better, once we can realize that, we can all be like, it's time to really do some Harriet Tubman stuff. It's time to get out and go. Because we're too comfortable. Yeah, to freedom.
It's always been, you know, a play on words, because we are free. I mean, technically, you know, now we're not in chains and in a cage or just so technically we're free. We're just free to believe that the system is made for us as well. That's another thing, you know what I'm saying? So that's another thing, you know, but
that's
so,
crazy when they said it. No, because
ahead,
I was just thinking like, it wouldn't it better though when you knew you was a slave? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
To think that you're free and actually
it was open and honest.
Even a worse slave than you were before. You know, like, okay, yeah, we're not physically and you know all that, but I mean, a lot of stuff that's going on is detrimental, spiritually, mentally, physically. You know, they say like, what's worse, mental or physical abuse? You can get over the boyfriend that beat you up, just only beat you up because you'll heal. But are you gonna get over the boyfriend that told you wasn't nothing, talked about your eyebrows that you could never fix? You know, every time you look in the mirror, you gotta look at them eyebrows. And yeah,
that you couldn't
they
fix.
are whack. You know, exactly. Like, dude, I am a little cross-eyed.
I told you not to.
Like,
I told you
you
not to get them eyebrows tatted.
You see your eyebrow, then you're gonna think about that. So it's just like, it was just it's like we're still in slavery, and it was different when you knew you was a slave than when you actually wake up 30 years old and you're like, I've been a slave for the last 30 years.
Yeah, it's actually better to know you're a slave than to believe you're free.
And really be a slave.
It is all. I mean, back to that, it's all by design. Like we're on mental leashes. We're not, you know, like.
Yeah.
I think also another big thing that would help us realize that we are not free is just the fact that in Exodus, these children were also enslaved through capitalism. We don't even realize that, like going through in Yashar and stuff, these people were enslaved not by, you know, just being servants and slaves, but literally through a system of capitalism set by Egypt. We were never free. We're not free, but we can be free.
They literally were. And I'm thinking about that even with the Prince of Egypt movie as a kid watching, like how the plan was, oh yeah, we're gonna tell them, we're gonna come here and work, build all this up with them, you know, They went and left them people and made them do it all by themselves. Like, actually, y'all gonna do it. We gonna head on out. Like,
our people are not mad enough for me.
Yeah, like check on the progress. And y'all told the Pharaoh y'all was helping us. Y'all lied. Like,
we gotta break this loop. We're stuck in this loop that we keep reliving, going around the same mountain. This should have took 11 days, taken, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years for us now, you know, in present day. Like, what's going on? What? Gotta wake up. Come on.
Hard to compete with all the stuff that's put out there with the social media and stuff. Their everyone's attention is on that.
Such a distraction.
We have got to band together and come together, because it just shows you, like, in slavery, there was way more of us than it was of them. There's no way we shouldn't have been poisoning their food. Like, we was cooking their food. We could have been killing their babies. We could have been doing all that, but they had us so mentally controlled. The mental control. This man is one man here, and you know, and it's 15 slaves, but everybody listening to this one man when they really could have, but the fear, you know. So it just goes to show how, like you said, the Willie Lynch, and just how from the beginning they knew that they what couldn't be stronger than us. They couldn't be better, but if they could control our minds and get in there mentally, they got you. And if they could start again, it could go on for years and years and years. And
they did it again. The crazy part about it is they did it again with, you know, Columbus discovering America, where he used our faith against us.
The New World.
When he used the New World. So when they used our faith against us, you know what I mean? And they knew that we were followers of, you know, Yah and Yahushua, but they flipped it because we couldn't read their interpretation of it, and they were like, "Oh, he also said this. Y'all didn't see this part? Oh, okay, this is what he said. We gotta do this, that." We was like, "Oh, okay."
Same thing. A lot of these pastors are doing now too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Prosperity gospel, you know,
motivational speeches.
In civilized places, they just take what's there and then just leave the destruction behind and have us in mental chains all over again.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
It really is all mental. Like it's killing me, this whole manifest culture now, because they're not wrong, but they're making it seem like it's just you. You have the power, it's you. It's like, no, you know, you put your faith in the Most High and you do what he said to do, and he's gonna direct that path for you. So yeah, you're speaking to him, and you're speaking that you have that belief in him. You're misattributing where the belief should go.
Exactly.
I don't even really get why people want to be God so bad anyway. I'm really okay and happy with not having it all figured out on my own. That I can really give it to a superior being, and he just like, hey, it's on you now. It's not even on me. Like, why do we want to be God? We can't even create anything. Why? I don't get it. Seems like a stressful job,
for real.
Dealing
it's
with us.
Like, you know, the crazy part, just to kind of expound on that, is like you said, it feels good to be able to, it's like being at work and, you know, like, dang, I don't want to handle this, you know, and you got your superior or your supervisor, whoever there who can handle it, you know, I'm just going to let them get that because that's too much.
Let them stay late today.
Yeah, I'm going to let them stay late. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. Like, so there's no reason why we shouldn't let go and let God, as they say. You know what I'm saying? Let them handle it. You know what I mean? Like, look, I'm going to do what you tell me to do. Okay, I'm going to go handle that because I know you got all this. So let me just go on and do this a little bit. You can take care of the heavy lifting. You know what I mean? I'm just going to go ahead and sit at this desk and do this pencil. Yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's exactly how it should be. But I think the problem is we continue to, you know, and it's sad because we kind of take things to our head, but like we call each other king and queen and stuff like that. But now we start to believe it to the point where we're like, we control this, this is us. And so to speak, but at the end of the day, you're still a servant of the Most High. Like you still got somebody ruling you too. So you're not just walking around here controlling everything. Like, remember that, you know what I mean?
So crazy too, because they be calling each other kings and queens, but still have the mind of a slave. A king does not have the mind of a slave. So what are you talking about, kings and queens? You ain't got it together yet.
Yeah, but it sounds good though.
What it say?
It do sound good,
like
but it's looking bad.
As though they are. Speak of things that's not as though they are.
So,
okay, king.
You know what? I think everybody associates themselves, their kingdom and queendom based on where they at. So like, you know what I'm saying? If you're, you know, into the gang culture and you're out there in the streets in the hood, you a king if you alive and got bricks and out there doing your thing, you know what I'm saying? But if you're on the other side of life and you're, you know, just 9 to 5 and then just working hard, okay, now you got another type of king and queen. Then it's all associated with the lifestyle that you live. So there's not necessarily a diagram or you know, a criteria, a sheet that says, okay, this is what makes you king and queen. It's just everybody saying, well, shoot, I got all this money, I got bricks, I got a couple of bands, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm kinging, you know what I mean? I'm queening, you know what I mean? Like, I got me a dude doing it. Like, so there's, you know, everybody is making up their own criteria for what being a king is.
Everybody's a king of something, queen of something.
At the end of the day, every one of them are still waiting for the stimmy check to come through. They still waiting for
not the stimmy.
Not me. I ain't got not one check.
Dang, Nathan.
That's why I'm the queen, because I've been surviving without no STEMI.
There we go.
No taxes, baby.
That's too funny.